If you've ever opened your banking app and felt that tiny punch in the gut, you know the one. It's late at night, you're lying in bed, the room is quiet, you're tired but not tired enough to avoid checking your balance just to see. And there it is, a number that feels small. Maybe it's $327. Maybe it's $1,842. Maybe it's negative. And you start doing that mental math thing where you subtract rent, groceries, that random subscription you forgot to cancel, and suddenly the number feels even smaller. And then you think about $100,000, six figures. It sounds like a different planet, like something reserved for people who figured it out, people who must have some secret knowledge, some higher salary, some invisible advantage. And you sit there thinking, how do you go from this to that? I think about that question a lot. Honestly, probably more than is healthy. My name is Tim, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, how people build it, how they lose it, and why two people with the same income can end up in completely different financial universes. I'm fascinated by the psychology of it, the habits, the quiet decisions nobody sees, the slow compounding that looks boring until it suddenly doesn't. And here's the thing that might surprise you. Reaching your first 100K starting at zero isn't about some magical investment. It's not about picking the perfect stock. It's not even primarily about income. It's about identity. It's about how you think when you have nothing and what you do when nobody's clapping yet. In this video, I want to walk you through how someone actually goes from zero to $100,000, not in a hypey, just hustle harder way, not in a spreadsheet-only robotic way, but in a real way. The mindset shifts, the math, the boring middle, the moments you almost quit. Because the truth is, the path to 100K doesn't feel exciting most of the time. It feels slow. It feels invisible. And that's exactly why most people never make it there. So, let's talk about how you do.
Before we even talk tactics, we need to zoom out for a second. What is $100,000? It's not just a number. It's not just 6 digits on a screen. It's a threshold. When you hit 100K in net worth, whether that's investments, savings, or a combination of both, something changes. Not dramatically, not fireworks and confetti, but structurally. Think of it like pushing a car. At the beginning, it's parked. You're behind it, you're pushing with everything you've got. It barely moves, your legs are shaking. You're wondering if it's even worth it. But once the car starts rolling, even a little, it gets easier. Momentum kicks in. That's what 100K represents, momentum. For example, if you're invested and earning an average 7% return, $100,000 generates $7,000 a year without you doing anything. That's over $500 a month, just showing up. And here's the wild part. The jump from 0 to 100K is usually harder than the jump from 100K to 200K. Why? Because at the beginning, it's all you. Later, your money helps. So if you're at 0, understand this. You're in the hardest phase, not the hopeless phase, the hardest. And that matters because it means the struggle you feel isn't proof you're failing, it's proof you're at the beginning. Step 1. Stop playing defense. When most people start at 0, they think the first goal is to save whatever I can, which sounds reasonable, right? But if you're only thinking about cutting costs, you're playing defense, and defense alone rarely wins the game. Let me explain. Imagine someone earning $40,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck. They cut subscriptions, they cook at home, they skip vacations, they squeeze out an extra $150 a month. That's good. That's discipline. But $150 a month is $1,800 a year. Even invested, that's going to take a long time to hit 100K. The people who reach 100K faster do something different. They increase income. Not overnight, not magically, but intentionally. I remember when I first started taking income growth seriously. I used to think raises just happened, like weather. You show up, you work hard, and one day someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "Congratulations." That's not how it works. Income is often negotiated, engineered, or built. So instead of asking, "How can I save $50 more?" start asking, "How can I earn $500 more?" That might mean switching jobs, learning a higher paying skill, taking on freelance work, asking for a raise with actual data, starting something small on the side. It's uncomfortable. It requires effort. It might require rejection. But here's why it matters. Income is your biggest wealth-building lever in the early years. When you're at zero, your savings rate matters more than your investment returns, and your savings rate is directly tied to your income. You don't reach 100K by being the world's best coupon clipper. You reach it by expanding your capacity. Before investing, before chasing returns, before worrying about ETFs and asset allocation, you need stability. And that starts with an emergency fund. I know, it's not sexy. Nobody brags about their $8,000 savings account at parties. But here's what an emergency fund really is. It's psychological freedom. When you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, you think differently. You negotiate differently. You sleep differently. You're not constantly in uh-oh mode. Let's say your monthly expenses are $3,000. A 6-month buffer is $18,000. That might feel huge, overwhelming even, but break it down. If you save $1,000 a month, that's 18 months. If you save $1,500 a month, that's 1 year. Now, I can already hear someone saying, "Yeah, but I can't save $1,000 a month." Okay, then start with 300 or 500 or whatever you can. The point isn't speed, the point is direction. And here's the hidden benefit. Building that first $10,000 to $20,000 teaches you how to delay gratification. It teaches you that you can set a target and hit it. That confidence compounds too. I've seen people who felt completely out of control financially become calm, strategic, almost patient just because they built a buffer. And that calm, that's fuel for the next stage.
There's a concept I love called the gap. The gap is the difference between what you earn and what you spend. That's it. If you earn $5,000 a month and spend $4,800, your gap is $200. If you earn $7,000 and spend $4,000, your gap is $3,000. Guess who builds wealth faster? And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most people increase their income and increase their lifestyle at the same speed. You get a $10,000 raise, suddenly there's a nicer apartment, a newer car, more dinners out, and the gap stays tiny. That's lifestyle creep. It's sneaky, it feels deserved, it feels harmless, but it quietly steals your future. When you're trying to reach 100K, your mission is simple: widen the gap aggressively. For a few years, live below what you could afford. Not miserably, not in deprivation mode, but intentionally. If your friends upgrade to luxury apartments, you don't have to. If your coworkers finance a $40,000 car, you don't have to. You're playing a different game. Every extra $1,000 you put into investments early on isn't just $1,000. Over 20 years at 7%, it becomes almost $4,000. So when you choose the cheaper car or the smaller apartment, you're not just saving money, you're buying future freedom. Step 4. Automate like your future depends on it, because it kind of does. Willpower is unreliable, motivation fades, life gets busy. So instead of trusting yourself to manually invest every month, automate it. Set up automatic transfers, from paycheck to savings, from savings to investments, from checking to retirement accounts. Make it boring. When money never hits your spending account, you don't miss it as much. I once increased my automatic investment by just 1% every 6 months. It was barely noticeable, but over time, it doubled my savings rate. Small tweaks, big impact. And here's the deeper truth. Automation protects you from your emotional self. When markets drop, you'll feel nervous. When everyone's talking about some hot stock, you'll feel tempted. Automation keeps you steady, and consistency beats intensity.
You do not need a complex strategy to reach 100K. In fact, complexity is often a distraction. A simple approach, like consistently investing in broad, low-cost index funds, works incredibly well over time. Why? Because you're not trying to beat the market, you're trying to participate in it. The earlier you start, the more compounding works in your favor. Let's say you invest $1,500 a month at a 7% return. You'll reach $100K in about 5 years. 5 years? That's not 30, not forever. 5. Even $800 a month gets you there in under 9 years. When you break it down like that, 100K stops feeling mythical. It becomes mathematical. The key is time in the market, not timing the market. And yes, there will be dips, corrections, scary headlines. Stay invested. Future you will be grateful. This is the part nobody talks about. Around 20K to 50K, you might feel stuck. You're saving, you're investing, but the growth feels slow. The number moves, but not dramatically. This is where most people lose interest, because it's not exciting yet. But this is the forge. This is where discipline is built. Think of it like going to the gym. The first few months, changes are subtle. But if you quit because you don't see abs immediately, you never get there. The plateau is normal. Don't interpret slow growth as failure. It's just the middle. And the middle is where wealth is actually built. If you only celebrate 100K, you'll feel behind for years. Instead, create milestones. First $1,000 saved. First 10K invested. First year maxing out a retirement account. First month your investments earn more than you contribute. Each one matters. Each one reinforces your identity. Because ultimately, reaching 100K starting at zero isn't about becoming someone with money. It's about becoming someone who builds money. That identity shift is everything.
Here's what I want you to remember. Going from 0 to 100K is not glamorous. It's not viral. It's not flashy. It's quiet. It's automatic transfers on a random Tuesday. It's saying no when nobody's watching. It's applying for a higher-paying job even when you're scared. It's investing during a market dip when headlines are screaming. It's 1,000 small decisions. And one day, you open your account, and the number starts with a 1 and has 5 zeros behind it. And you realize something. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was momentum. If you're at 0 right now, or close to it, don't let that discourage you. Everyone who ever hit 100K started somewhere smaller. The beginning is heavy, but it's also powerful, because every dollar you build from here is proof. Proof that you can change your trajectory. Proof that discipline compounds. Proof that time rewards patience. So start widening the gap. Start increasing income. Start automating. Start investing. Not perfectly, just consistently. A few years from now, you won't recognize the version of you who thought 100K was impossible. And honestly, and here's something I wish more people understood, the journey to 100K changes you long before the number ever shows up. Somewhere around 15K or 30K invested, you start checking your accounts differently. Not obsessively, not anxiously, but curiously. You begin to see patterns. You notice how markets move. You realize that a random Tuesday gain of $600 happened while you were at work, eating lunch, living your life. And you think, wait, my money just made money. That's a subtle but powerful shift. You also start making decisions with a longer lens. A flashy purchase doesn't just cost $2,000 anymore. It costs what that $2,000 could have become in 10 or 20 years. And that doesn't mean you never spend. It just means you spend consciously. There's a big difference. One feels restrictive, the other feels intentional. And intentional living is surprisingly freeing. There will still be moments of doubt, by the way, months where expenses pile up, times when the market drops and your balance dips below a milestone you were proud of. That part never fully goes away. But instead of panicking, you'll have data, you'll have habits,
You'll have proof that you can rebuild because you already did it once from zero. And that confidence, that's worth more than the 100K itself. Eventually, you'll look back at this season, the budgeting, the side hustles, the awkward salary negotiations, the boring index fund contributions, and realize it was the foundation, not the flashy middle, not the triumphant end, the foundation. And foundations are supposed to be slow and solid and a little bit invisible. So if you're at the very beginning right now, staring at a small number and feeling behind, just know this: the climb is real, but it's climbable. One widened gap, one automated transfer, one brave income move at a time. Keep going. The six-figure version of you is built in the quiet decisions you make today. That's the real transformation.